You know, it's like going on after the Beatles or something, you know?
Right.
Okay, yeah, I'm here. I'm mic'd up. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah. We hear
Okay.
you.
Good deal.
Yeah. So we just have a little countdown, let people get situated. Not, you know, we were hoping to have Cesar Brollo with us today, but I think he's traveling.
He's probably trying to avoid cloud cover. There was a lot of that today.
There was a lot, wasn't there?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
True. That's true. But his live broadcast today got quite a few and get lots of engagement today, and so it was nice. It was nice.
I only give people a 30-second countdown. You're jumping on, better jump on fast.
That's right.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
We let people get popcorn, sodas, you know, whatever they need, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nobody got time for that.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I'm here. I'm just sliding over, working on the forecast, which includes additional light snow overnight tonight.
Oh,
Or not overnight, tomorrow night. Excuse me, not
Right.
tonight. God's like, wait a minute, what happened to that forecast? The chain.
try to image tonight, Dan. Come on now.
Yeah.
Right.
So they got me on my other program.
There we go. Let's share this to our favorite groups here, which are all of them. All the groups out there are our favorites.
Exactly. That's why they called me in today to answer phones. I was in shipping most of the time last week trying to get orders filled. So today much to my ability that I can do. So I will pass that on. Yes, you will receive an email message. Yes.
I think there'd be more Eclipse groups. There's just a
All right,
few.
I can do that. I will definitely pass that on. Hey, thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of the afternoon. Bye-bye.
We got a couple of videos here. One video was submitted by an astronomy club out of Chile, and which was great. Chio from La Serena helped arrange that. Now this is the eclipse from Chile. You can see how cloudy it is, but these guys got lucky. You see how dark it is? It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Lucky, really lucky. See, that's why you keep going even if you got clouds. They got it. So thank you very much from Chio that helped arrange that. And this is Cesar Brollo with his group. Here it goes. Wow, here we are. Yeah. Beautiful, Cesar. Beautiful. We're at totality right now. Well, hello everybody. This is Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific, and this is the OpenGOTO Community Live. And our special guest, Dan Skoff from KNWA, is here. He's the Chief Meteorologist there and an eclipse enthusiast. So he's joining us today. And Dan, what did you think about today's eclipse?
You know, I thought, first of all, I've been so busy with the snow event that we had yesterday, and, you know, knowing it was a new moon because of the Gemini meteor shower and how the viewing was going to be great for that. I looked at my my calendar. I was like, oh my gosh, the eclipse is tomorrow morning. And so yeah, it honestly came up that fast. And I knew about it coming up in advance, but, you know, over the last few days, it's been a whirlwind. And it just, I mean, honestly, I think it might have been the least watched eclipse of recent history for several reasons: COVID restrictions, international travelers not being able to make it. I know several of my friends weren't able to go, and thankfully we've got streaming technology, because back in the early '90s that was not a thing, and you had to be there.
That's very true. That's very true. And of course, I mean, seeing a video of it versus actually really seeing it is two different things. So,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You showed me some satellite views of the shadow of the eclipse racing across. What do you think was remarkable about this eclipse?
So one of the things is, you know, with the new technology that's out there with satellite and learning more and more about satellites, including the goes east and goes west satellites, there are different products that you can view this shadow just better than ever that you can see. And so they have the mesosector, one of the sectors of the satellite where it updates every minute. So you see this shadow racing across the screen. I will say that intro video kind of looked like you when you were doing the Oculus when I brought it to your office at one time. And speaking of that, just to let you know, there's an Oculus video. I watched it the other day of the 2017 eclipse where the school sent a weather balloon up with a 360-degree camera. Yes, and you can watch the shadow of the moon. I got to show you that sometime. You can watch the shadow.
I bought an Oculus off of your recommendation.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So this is no way being sponsored by that, but it is pretty neat to see. But anyways, I'm going to show you some stuff. I can share my screen, and I'm going to show you First of all, I am a huge eclipse enthusiast. And so if everybody can see my screen, I'm also an astronomy enthusiast. You know, we had that solar flare that happened not too long ago. I'm definitely not a professional astronomer, and I'll be the first to admit that. I'm amateur. And, you know, we try to keep up our community with what's going on, such as, you know, the Great Conjunction. It looks like the weather's going to be great for that on Monday night, right around sunset, the start of the winter solstice, the Gemini meteor shower, which I was able to see in the weather blog, including the northern lights. And I said, not this time. I had to update that just to let people know. But let me show you on my Twitter feed here. First of all, I'm going to bring this up. If everybody can see this, this is the goes east. It's not the mesosector anymore because their data only goes so far out, but I could get it archived. But here is the shadow of, obviously, you know, it's on the southern hemisphere where they get, you know, daytime almost 24 hours a day because they're approaching their, you know, their summer, just like the North Pole. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So here's sunrise. And then you're going to notice right here all of this cloud cover. So here comes the
Check
shadow.
it out, though.
Here comes the shadow of the moon. And you can see that moving directly over Chile and Argentina.
Yeah.
And so this is called the full disk. This is the global sector. But we can, just to let you know, we can go a little bit farther south, and we are going to do that. I'm going to show you. We're going to go down here. We're going to zoom in just a little bit more so we can get a better look. So we'll let this data load. And then I'm going to show you some of the products that we can use, which is awesome for satellite meteorology, such as the veggie. There's a veggie band called, Channel 3. And so here's the shadow. You can see it moving through. Now with the mesosector, it updates every minute. So it's a lot smoother of appearance of that shadow moving across, but still pretty spectacular. I'll loop that again and show you.
Right. Well, you can see all those clouds that they were dealing with.
Oh man, they were dealing with a lot, weren't they? That was the luckiest video I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, but there are some indications, and it happened with the eclipse of 2017, that when that solar insolation, the energy from the sun is being, blocked.
Yeah.
You know, these clouds are building up because of, heat and, thermals that are happening. And so if, they may have gotten lucky, but it also meant it might have been an exact direct result of the eclipse blocking that sunlight, blocking that solar insolation, and causing those clouds to maybe dissipate just a little bit so they weren't building up as much.
Wow, that's really cool.
So let me show you the veggie band real quick. And this is not visible. So, but you can't, it's called near infrared. So it's not perfectly infrared, but you're going to see the shadow even better on this because it's more sensitive to essentially darker. So see how bright everything is?
Yeah.
You're really going to see the shadow on this.
Oh, wow.
And you can also see it darkening up as well as it comes through. So pretty spectacular.
Really cool. Really cool.
Real quick, I've also got on my Twitter feed at Weather Dan, and I've tweeted out a few things. Here is, I can't make it full screen, but this is a smoother image of the shadow, so you can see how it's moving across the screen. This is and I have the high resolution version, but Twitter only lets you upload anything that's under 15 meg. But one of the things that fascinated me with this eclipse is the amount of solar activity. You know, we're entering into solar cycle 25, according to astronomers. Scott, you might be able to hint a little bit more on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're already picking up more sunspots, more flares, more prominences.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So this is a look at the sun from the 2019 solar eclipse, the one that you went to in South America last year, which seems like a decade ago, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now this is the 2019 eclipse, right?
Yeah. 2019 eclipse, not the 2017, the 2019 eclipse, like the one that you were at in La Serena. I don't remember exactly where
it was at Cerro Tololo Inter-American Observatory, CTIO, which is above La Serena. And so we had a great view of it. What that you know, that's a beautiful close-up shot showing the corona and everything. But when you saw it naked eye, it looked like it made this giant V of a shadow as it came up.
Really
So,
cool.
yeah,
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out was look at the lack of prominences. Now, I
Right.
saw the eclipse back in 1991. I was one of the lucky ones that was able to see the Baja total solar eclipse, which is what fascinated me with solar eclipse. I saw probably the best one of the
that
century.
was a good one.
Oh my gosh.
That was a good one.
Totality lasted nearly 7 minutes. It was a long totality. I think it was just shy of 7 minutes, which is unreal, unheard of. But
Right.
look at the solar prominences. I see like 2 or maybe 3. Now we're going to look at the one from today and look at the solar
Look at that.
activity. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one really big one. I
Right.
mean, well, actually, I'd say 3 really big ones. So I'd say,
Beautiful.
yeah, the sun's getting a little more active, which
Right.
is fascinating. Maybe you can hint what causes a solar cycle? What causes the activity to increase on the sun
Yeah.
every 11 years or so?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that that there is a cycle, and there's other cycles too that they follow. If we'd have Claude Plymate who works at Big Bear Solar Observatory, is actually watching the eclipse live feed this morning. But I'll have to get him on to talk about the dynamics of the sun. It'd be fun to have both you guys on to discuss that. So
I
we'll
would
do
love
that
to learn
sometime.
more because, I did a lot of research on sunspots and what causes the aurora borealis back in 2011. We had, I've got to show you this because this is an Arkansas, just an incredible Arkansas Northern Lights event. And look at this. This
Look
was
at
in
that.
Ozark, Arkansas, which is south of where you live, Scott.
Right.
This is in the River Valley.
Now,
From-
when did this happen?
So this was October 24th, 2011.
Wow.
And this is from, believe it or not, an unexpected event where a little piece of energy that came off the sun had almost purely southward pointing magnetic field. And
Incredible.
it just caused the Earth's magnetosphere to just go nuts. And
Right.
so and it didn't last very long, but wow, what a red aurora.
Yeah.
That's spectacular.
They had,
So-
it's been a few years ago, but I remember that they had an eclipse or aurora like that in Southern California, which is
Yeah.
also rare. And but it scared the living daylights out of them because they're observing it from Mount Wilson. They see a red sky and they can only think one thing: fire. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Lately, probably they believe that, but was
Yeah.
that the 2003? When we had that
It might have been.
massive sunspot?
I can't recall, but that sounds about right.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Well, that was awesome, Dan.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. I guess we're expecting some more snow coming up here pretty soon. Is that right?
We are. Do we have a lot of local people here and right in Northwest Arkansas?
Possibly. You got an international group here too, but
Okay, all right.
they know we're in Arkansas, so
Well, I won't be able to forecast for the entire world.
planet.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you. I have enough trouble forecasting in Northwest Arkansas. But one thing I did want to show you, if I can still share my screen, because I did
course.
want to show you this. This is pretty cool. Back to some of the technology with this, I'm going to show you the nighttime microphysics. This is going to blow your mind. So this is only good during the nighttime. And there's never a time where you can view this during the day except during a total solar eclipse. And watch this. You can actually see yellow is low clouds, and you can see this really well at night. But look at that. There comes the shadow of the moon. And so you can see those low clouds. These are all low clouds.
I see.
And then you can see it kind of moving across the screen.
Wow.
Now, when you go in even more, I don't think I'm able to. Well, maybe I am. Let's see here. Now, see it cuts it off North America. I can only do either continental or global sectors. But pretty cool stuff. I think I wanted to show that was pretty neat. See, here's daytime, and you can see these are all low clouds. And then when the sun sets, the way that it's sensitive to the band of
yeah.
radiation. And I just think that's amazing. So
That's super
some of
cool.
the stuff, I've been geeking out with the satellite imagery while it was lasting,
Right.
pretty much all morning long. And I was also, this is kind of cool, I was also doing a Facebook Live, just like, you're doing this live broadcast.
Mhm.
I was speaking to some kids in the 3rd grade class as I
Oh,
was.
that's right.
They were doing a literally a science lesson, and so I was like, well, I can show you the eclipse, and I took that one of those feeds,
Yeah.
and so right here, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I'm going to turn this down, but this was the live feed. So one more time, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'll let you guys go on. But here's the eclipse, and here's me showing everybody.
No, that's
There's the
super cool.
school, and they were watching that stream. And because I had it broadcasted, I was sharing the screen on Zoom, and then I was Facebook Living through my phone. So, and they were able to see the totality. We did it all the way through. So, kind of cool. Getting
That's
them
very
excited
cool.
for this, our 2024 total solar eclipse. So if we go here, we'll look. There's the path of totality for 2024.
Right.
And, one thing you notice too, which I think is pretty fascinating. I'll stop this Facebook Live in case you're getting that audio. I'm going to go back here. Look at the width of the shadow too. The shadow's a lot narrower here in 2017. So it was only like 2 minutes and 10 seconds of totality where I saw it in Mocaine, Missouri. But you could see the width of the shadow is a lot wider.
Much broader.
And if you look at the 1991 total solar eclipse, you should see the width of that shadow. It was huge, huh? It was unreal. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for me, Scott. I'll let you take over, and I've got to get the forecast done. Yeah, we are going to see additional light snow, an inch, maybe 2 inches in northwest Benton County. It might be a little bit far-fetched, but I think on average about an inch or less. So a little dusting.
All right. We'll survive.
Yep, absolutely.
Dan, thank you very much. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Okay, sounds good. Take care, guys.
Take care. All right. Where did our man Tyler run off to? We don't know. Okay. Well, he must have a customer. Let's
I guess
discuss,
so. I don't
let's
know.
find out who's watching today. We've got Book Davies, who was on our morning show. Bergman Scooter, probably also on our morning show. Dale Beasley, Mike Overacker, Mike Wiesner, Michael Whitaker. I love it that we have these regulars that watch a lot of these programs. It's very cool. Chio, who sent us the video from Chile. So that was really cool. She lives in La Serena. She's a teacher down there, and so she loves astronomy. Patrice Hines says hello again, everybody. Dusty Haskins, and who else? We have. I think that is Mike Ing, yeah, and Clearlight 58 saying sharing a couple of photos of the Geminids last night on my Instagram account. It was very nice last night here north of Boston. Saw at least 40 of them before the clouds rolled in at around 2 a.m. Oh. Very cool. Good. So if you got clear skies tonight, you're going to want to try to see some of those Geminids. Thanks very much for the comment about the videos. It was really awesome to have Dan on. He is an award-winning meteorologist and really gets into the technical aspect of weather patterns, especially interpreting all that satellite data. Martin Eastburn is on with us. Norm Hughes says, magnetic polar flip. I think it is the reason of the cycle. I believe you're right. I think that's correct. Libby in the Stars is watching. Libby, who did like a special video with us, has also appeared live with Dan Skoff as a guest meteorologist, which was very cool. Live 58 says, I went Facebook Live in 2017 as the eclipse happened, so all of my friends who couldn't see it or go got to see, and that was a lot of fun. That's really great. You know, if you look on Wikipedia about the 2017 eclipse, it says it was the first major eclipse of the social media age, which is, you know, so this is one of the ages that we live in. Tim Myers is saying 2024 looks good for Ohio. That's absolutely correct. I have an Airstream trailer. They're built in Jackson Center, Ohio, and they are on the center line, which is really kind of interesting. And who else? I think that kind of, oh yeah, and Celtic Raven. Scott, great job earlier today with the eclipse. Live can be hard, but you did an awesome job with what you had. Thank you very much. So we have been covering Jerry Hubbell's mentor training, and we'll have Jerry come on next here. You got the center stage, dude.
Okay. Let me, I'm looking at something real quick. So we left off at the, basically showing an electronic planetarium or star chart program. And I'm going to go to the, let's see. I'm going to go to the document that I've been using, and I posted this last week on the forum. People were asking for this document, so I did post it. But there's a couple other things I wanted to cover with the computer-based program. Basically, I covered these sections 6, 7, and 8 last week, or the other day. I guess it was last Friday. And we got into electronic sky charts, planetarium programs. There is a slight difference between a planetarium program and an electronic sky chart. It's really a difference with very little distinction. And planetarium programs are usually prettier than just electronic sky charts.
That's true.
That's really the only basic difference. So like a program like Stellarium, which we've talked about, and the Sky X, those have higher resolution graphics. They're not there's not so much symbology. It looks real, like a real sky, and it updates the screen much faster. It's got a lot of they use a lot of overhead to render the sky like a true planetarium program would. So that's one reason I'd rather use an electronic chart in the observatory, because of the resources that are available on a computer. I'd just as soon, and when you're using a GoTo system, for me anyway, you're just using it to navigate the sky. And I can actually, I'm going to bring up the, on the observatory right now. The phone's ringing, so the dogs are barking.
The dogs are barking. I thought that was the ringtone, was dogs barking.
Yeah. So I'll go to that in a minute. So I'm going to start to get into astronomical mounts and the different mounts that are available. So first I want to show the chart being navigating the sky at the observatory. So I'm gonna stop this share, and I'm going to share my other window. Can you see that?
Sure.
The MSRO observatory.
Yeah. Back in the
All
observatory.
right. So here's the star chart, and let me connect it to the mount. So right now, this white circle is where the telescope is pointed at. I can align the chart with where the telescope's at, and show you. And for those who haven't seen this, probably most of you have, this dark area is where my local, that's where the sky is blocked due to the local horizon. There's trees all around the observatory. And you can see the inside of the dome with the telescope pointed up at the close to zenith. You can see it here. So I was getting ready to take some pictures to do a plate solve to see if I could center it. It hadn't, still not quite dark. You can see the sky is really bright outside, so it's still not
Yeah.
dark enough yet to get good images. But I wanted to go over a little bit how you use a GoTo system with a planetarium or a sky chart program. And you basically connect it to your mount. And the mount, if you look down here, let me do something else here. I'm gonna make it easier on you guys. I'm gonna enlarge the pointer. You can see what I'm pointing at. It's a little big. All right. So down here, you can see the hand controller for the mount. And so the GoTo system basically allows you to navigate the sky according to the chart, and you can pick out objects and find objects in your planetarium program. That allows you, that connects to the mount. And so that's what I just did when I first got on here. I connected to the mount, and now the chart can show me where the telescope's pointed at and also tell me what the targets are. So let me search for a target. I don't know, let me, M31. So you see the chart jumped over to M31.
Right.
And let me see. And so right now, you see up here, this is where the telescope's pointed. And M31's on the other side of the meridian. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slew to M31. You'll see, you can watch the video in the observatory. You can watch the telescope move while the indicator on the chart shows where the telescope's pointing will move also. So let me go ahead and slew. And it's going to pass through the north celestial pole, which is over here. So it's going to come around. You can see it on the video also moving around. It's going to pass through the north celestial pole. Is about right there now.
Oh yeah.
And then it's
I
going to
really
come
like
over.
seeing the target on the chart move with the telescope. That
Yeah.
view that you have with the other camera. Anybody that builds an observatory should have another camera to kind of watch the instrument just to make sure
Yeah, it's nice to
nothing
be
goes
able to see
wrong,
it.
right?
Right, exactly. That's a good, it's a nice thing to have, and it's not that expensive to add a webcam. We also, the nice thing about Maxim, it also has this depiction, this mimic that actually shows it moving also. So you can see, so now let me slave the dome to the scope. So now it'll rotate the dome. And you'll see it start to rotate.
Now, how does it know? How does the dome understand where the telescope's aiming?
So it reads the mount. The dome software has connects to the mount also, so it
Okay.
knows where the telescope's pointed, and it's got to transform that into an azimuth for the dome.
Got it.
And if you see, that's an interesting thing though, because the telescope's offset from the center. So the place it calculates the position the slit is different than the actual azimuth of the position. So for example, you can see the target. If you go down here to the hand control, you can see the azimuth is set to 73 degrees, right?
Okay.
Down here. But if you notice, look at the dome azimuth. It's 319 degrees instead of 73. So it knows the geometry of the slit.
I see.
and it knows that you're at a certain altitude. You have to position the slit this way so you can look through it. So if you look here at the picture, you can see it looks like it's pointing at the edge here, but it's actually pointing through.
I
Uh,
see.
if the dome was actually over here to the actual place where it's pointing, it would be blocked. The telescope
Sure.
would be blocked by the dome. So
Right.
that's how the dome keeps up with the pointing of the telescope. And then the chart shows you where you're pointed at also. And then you have to sync the chart up with the telescope. So the telescope thinks it's right on M31, and the dome thinks it's there. So let's take an image. I don't know. It still might be maybe 10 seconds. I don't know if
Yeah,
we'll see the
Celtic
galaxy.
Raven is commenting right now. Wanted to know, can I take a moment to give an update on the pop-up observatory release order date? Okay. Actually, I just received an email today that was from the factory. I'm reading your mind a little bit. And let's see.
Yeah, that's a nice.
I did not read the email yet. Okay. The tents are ready. Okay. And so last message was the factory was informed that there's no spaces or containers available. With this pandemic, we've had all manufacturers of anything being made in China or practically anywhere in the world. Shipping has been on a super high demand. It's not normal Christmas stuff. This is Christmas times 10. Okay, so and that's happening all over the world.
Yeah.
So we're in a moment right now where we're waiting for tents to come over. I did ask for some samples, production samples, to come over by air freight. Those will be here probably within a week. But as soon as we know that the container is loaded and on its way, then we'll give you another update. Once that's happened, it takes roughly about 30 days to come over. But the observatory tents are manufactured, and so we're in the home stretch.
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's something else that we've talked on the broadcast for the last couple weeks, is that, if you haven't ordered your stuff and there's a bottleneck out there, if you're expecting it to get by a certain date, you really
Yeah, we did put up a notice at the top of our screen about shipments and all the rest of it. I went ahead and put even a notice up asked for the Better Business Bureau to put up a notice just in case someone might miss our mention on our website, or maybe is not watching these broadcasts. But try to keep people informed of about what's going on. So
yeah, that's the last thing. We really hate it. I mean, we take it. We're really worried about getting things to customers on time, and we really don't want that people to not get their stuff when they expect it. So that's why we continue to talk about it. That's why I continue to talk about it.
That's right. Celtic Raven said, my neighbor drives trucks. He hasn't been home in 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
He said he'll buy the sample after Friday night.
Yeah.
Book Davies says there's 7 billion people and we all want it now. That's right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Mike wants to know, are you using ProDome software?
Oh, for the dome, we're using Digital Domeworks. It's it's a Technical Innovations dome, and it's 20 years old. That dome's actually 20 years old, believe it or not, and the controller is 20 years old. So if you look up here, you see where my cursor is? Mounted on the observatory wall is the Domeworks, Digital Domeworks control system. Right there, these 2 boxes right here.
That's worked pretty good for you guys, right?
For the most part. We've had mechanical issues with the cable, and I apologize for looking away from the camera because I'm looking at my other screen. We've had problems with the cable, and we've also had a little bit problems at the beginning with the encoder. There's a little azimuth encoder wheel that runs when the dome rotates. I think it's think it's back over here actually.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little encoder wheel that turns, that's pressing up against the dome. So when the dome moves, it turns around and it counts pulses. So it tells you where it's at. We had problems with that a couple times. And then the winch, like I said, the cable system that pulls the shutter open and close is really, we've had to do some. That's really been the most work we've done on it, was with the cable system. It takes some maintenance. You have to watch it and maintain it pretty regularly.
Right.
So that's the only problem we've had there. But the digital Domeworks controller has been working fine for us for it's been in place for, this observatory has been in service for 5 years now.
Yeah, it's a very productive observatory. I know that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We get on it every clear night we can, for the most part. We've also we built 2 other stations that we use regularly also at the observatory.
Mm-hmm.
But so we just navigated basically to M31 using this chart, right?
Yeah.
And
Now, the image that you have up there, is that can't be a live image, right?
yeah, that's a live image.
Is it?
That's
Really?
a live image of M31.
Because I mean, the dome looks like it's really bright. I mean, the slit.
Yeah, the light, yeah, exactly. It's really darker because this is a deep sky webcam. It's not a normal
okay.
webcam. It's a deep sky camera that we've got
Mm-hmm.
configured. And let me see what it's a 3-second exposure.
I
So
see.
when the sky gets dark, this gets dark and you can see stars in it, but it's still a little bit of twilight going on, but it's dark enough to get a picture.
Isn't that incredible?
And let me zoom up on here.
Yeah.
You can see
You can
how
see
nice
it. Sure.
stars are focused. And this is a 10-second exposure also.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine how sensitive the camera is. That's a 10-second exposure. Now you can see the sky background, these counts right here, it's 9,000 counts. That's the sky background. Let me take another picture. Let's see how, so this number should go down for a 10-second exposure. It'll be, see what we get now. And I'll probably adjust this stretch again. Yeah, so let me let the stretch, come on. See, there it is again. Whoops, it's blown out. So now you can start to see, I'm going to stretch it a little harder. Actually, I'm going to do this. There it is right there. So that's M31, and you can see the sky still looks fairly bright, still twilight. But that's what we navigated to.
It's great.
Our kids just came in the door.
Yeah.
So that's M31.
Yeah.
That's how you navigate the sky with a planetarium program with a GoTo system. And
It's pretty nice. I mean,
there's Neptune. Look, there's Neptune.
Right.
Oh, whoops. Let me zoom up.
Is it dark enough to image Neptune at this time?
Yeah, you can. We should be able
Probably,
to see it.
right?
Let's see
Yeah.
it. Let's see. It should look pretty bright. All right. So
Look how
there's
convenient
Neptune.
this is.
So it's getting ready to cross a meridian, but we'll go over to it. So
Okay.
Neptune's right there, and that's zoomed up quite high. Let's go ahead and
Look,
see
Davis
to it.
says, yeah, simple as that. Lots of laughs.
Yeah, there's a lot of work ahead of time to get it to this point for sure. So let me zoom out and you can see it. Let's see it coming. There it is. See, it's coming straight down.
There it is.
Yep. Now, let me just sync that up, and then we'll take a photograph. And Neptune right now, let's see what magnitude it is. It's 7.9, magnitude 7.9, which You can't quite see it with your naked eye. It's about 2 magnitudes too dark or too dim. But let's do a 10-second exposure, and we'll see what it looks like on the image.
Okay. It's probably not going to quite
Oh.
fill the field of view, right?
I didn't wait for the dome to finish.
Oh, okay.
It just finished moving. All right, so let me take another picture.
Need to put a high horsepower engine on that thing.
Yeah. All right, now that might be it right there, and that might be the. I have to do a plate solve to be sure, but this looks like it's
the moons.
a moon of near. Yeah, one of the moons, Nereid.
Uh-huh.
Right there. Oops.
Near it.
Nereid.
Oh, near it.
Nereid. I don't know. I don't know
Near
if it's
it.
here. That's a star. Is it at? Is it here? No. Close that.
Norm Hughes does this kind of astronomy as well. He says the only way to do it, I sit in the comfort of my telescope room in the house and control it all from there.
That's exactly what I'm at. You can see the control system behind me running this stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're at mission control. You got
mission control. That's right.
Got enough computing power to light up Toledo.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how you navigate. That's how you navigate.
Very cool.
On the sky with the planetarium system, and then you can see there's all kinds of objects. Like for example, here's a minor planet. Oops.
Book Davy says, Norm, I get bundled up for an Arctic expedition, get polar aligned and all set, defrost my eyebrows off the eyepiece and love it. Get all set up though, piece by piece.
Yeah, I used to do that. For 4 years, I'd set my system up. It was portable, up and down over 200 times over a 4-year period, and I don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore.
And I sat out in the middle of wintertime.
Does that make you a lazy astronomer now? I mean,
yeah, I'm a more productive astronomer, I think.
Oh, more productive. That's true. You are.
Because I'm rested and I'm not working my ass off just to get 5 images or something.
Right.
So that's that. I wanted to get, so the thing about mounts, they're different kind of mounts, and you need a mount to be able to, whatever optic you're using, you want to be able to have it as steady as you can on the sky so you don't get blurry. And everybody's familiar with these little small telescopes, and you're trying to look at the moon or Saturn or whatever, and you just touch it and it's wobbling. Mounts help you control that, and tripods, mounts, piers, all that equipment is geared towards allowing you to do a high magnification on an object and not have it move around on you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we have here in the observatory. We can take these very precise images, because we got a solid pier, and then the gem mount allows us to point at any object in the sky. And that's the purpose of a mount, is to be able to allow you to position the telescope to a known position in the sky at a right ascension and declination coordinates. That's the purpose of a mount.
Yep.
Now, there are some mounts that are better than others. Of course, you get the basic altitude azimuth mount that's where you manually position the telescope. It's a very intuitive way of moving the telescope in the sky. You use your finder scope to locate an object, and then once you get it centered in your finder scope, then you look through it, and you can typically see with a low power eyepiece, you can find the object. A lot of people buy longer focal length telescopes as a beginning scope, like a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, which are fairly long focal length. It's really difficult to use those when you first start out, unless you have an excellent finder that's aligned with the main scope, because it's very hard to point to any objects and find things. especially if you're doing just visual and you're using a paper chart to find things, you have to really learn the sky with that type of system.
Right.
So there are basically three types of mounts that are available today. A German equatorial mount, which is G11 is that we're showing, and the other one is a Altaz, which I talked about, which is a simple mount, which everybody has seen. And then there's a special kind of mount that's an equatorial mount, but it's called a fork mount, which everybody's seen those also. It's on the Schmidt Cassegrains typically have a fork mount because they're more compact and and the telescope's more compact. That's why people like it, because you got a large telescope that's
Yeah.
very small in size and physical size. So that's the advantage of it. But it's fairly heavy and it's got a long focal length. So that's really what you'll see refractors mostly use gem mounts pretty much. Altaz mounts for beginner refractors, telescopes, and
Yeah.
gem mounts for more advanced refractors, like we have here at the observatory.
Right.
So next time I'll get more into mounts. This is just kind of an introduction. I'll get more into that, and I'll be able to talk about in the observatory how the mount moves in relation to the sky. That's really an important concept that people have to get their minds wrapped around. So I'll end it at that, and we'll talk about mounts more on Wednesday. I guess Wednesday's our next program.
Right. Well, great. Well, Tyler had to step out of this program because we had customers in the showroom that wanted to see him. So, that took priority. We will update you next time that we have our program, which will be on. Is it already Friday?
No.
No, it'll be Wednesday, right?
So do we have an open? We have a what do you can have a program tomorrow on or not?
Yeah. We have First Light
First
Chronicles.
Chronicles, right?
When you work every day, all the days kind of blend together.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it does feel like Friday, but it's Monday.
Oh my God. So anyhow, I hope that all of you have been getting your Christmas shopping done. If you have questions on shipping, if you bought something from us and it hasn't yet arrived, you can just double check in with us. But we are, we've got all hands on deck shipping out product, and most nights we are shipping till about 1 a.m. So it is a very, very busy time, but we want you to get your product and try to get it there on time. And we're just keeping our fingers crossed that UPS and FedEx do their job. So,
yeah.
But until that time, thanks, Jerry, for showing us the live views. I always love to see Andromeda anytime. I was a little bit surprised seeing all that light coming through the dome there. And I was going, how in the heck is he doing this? So anyhow,
high sensitive equipment.
Yeah. It was fun this morning. I got up real early this morning to get ready for Cesar, and hats off to Cesar Brollo for showing us the eclipse live from Argentina, and to Chio for sending us the video of the view from Chile. So it was really cool. You guys have a good night, and again, thanks to Dan Skoff for coming on and showing us what the eclipse is like from space. It's totally cool. We'll see you next time. Take care, and that's it.
time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.